We all know that if you're in small business, you're busy, probably very busy. And if you're not doing business, you're looking forward or doing the paperwork or training behind it all. We get caught up in the now and what we have to do today. But sometimes we need to have a destination in mind and plan a route to get there. Otherwise, we end up pedaling furiously and end up at the end of the freeway instead of Kalamunda. We've all been there. Sort of. Now, with Kat Paz and I today is Martin Keiley of Step Into Life Coaching, here to discuss long-term versus short-term thinking and how this affects our goals and setting our goals. So stop pedaling for a few minutes and we might save you some time. Welcome, Martin Keiley.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you, Kat?
I'm awesome.
I'm pretty excited as well. But actually, I have to admit that I'm terrible at planning and I feel kind of guilty that I'm here talking about it. How unusual am I?
Not unusual at all. In fact, you probably make up a vast majority of the population. I guess what we don't think about when we set our goals, first of all, is it a goal? And I think for most people, they make a statement rather than actually a goal. I think what we need to look at is what our motivations are around what we want to achieve, and what is it in ourselves that really gets things going and gets us motivated. And really valuable, achievable goals are something that you will think about or will be part of your behaviour every day. And so, for example, people might say, I want to be a millionaire. But that's not really a goal, that's a statement. And the goal is around how that actually comes to fruition. And that's some of the difficulties we have in terms of how we set ourselves up to make sure that we achieve what we want to achieve. And with your introduction, one of the things that I focus on when I work with people is looking at what kind of personality they are and what kind of what kind of things would really keep them on focus and on track so that they achieve what they want to achieve. So, for example, within our personalities, there are elements of us that perhaps become more motivated in a long-term situation, and there's elements that become motivated in short-term situations. Does that make some sense?
Kind of. I like this. You have to think about what the personality is like. What do you mean by that? Or like, are we do we need motivation, or we go too fast, or it's hard to get us off the sofa, or you know?
It's all them things. So it's really looking at what is it about you. So, for example, one of the characteristics of somebody that would benefit from a short-term goal is, I guess, a characteristic of being impulsive. So if...
That's kind of me.
So if you think about the scenario of purchasing a new television... Would you be somebody that go, right, I'm going out, I've got my credit card, I'm going to the shops, we'll go in and we'll buy the best one that we can see? That's a very impulsive nature. There are other people that would sit back and go, well, let's look through the magazines that come through the post.
Yeah, that's not us.
Yeah, we would.
I have a no junk mail sign on mine, so
we would Google the reviews to see what they were like. So it's more kind of long-term strategic rather than impulsive. So you've got very, very much two kinds of people. Part of the work I do with people in the first instance is to try and gauge, particularly around goal setting anyway, trying to gauge what kind of perhaps personality traits that they have. And would use some examples like purchasing things, or, you know, how they would rearrange things in their home, whether, they're going out for a meal. Do they just go, right, let's go to the first place that we can find that's got a table, or would they look into it in a bit more depth? So you're seeing, I guess, elements within yourself of whether you're an impulsive or strategic kind of elements in your personality. And where they align is, so for example, you guys kind of resonate with being a little bit impulsive, and some of it aligns with risk taking as well, and things like that. And that's not a bad thing. There's nothing that's bad, But what that probably aligns to is more helping people to set short-term goals.
Yeah.
So when we talk about short-term goals, maximum a month. So
maximum a month.
Maximum a month. Yeah, 30
Monthly.
days, 1 month.
I don't feel so bad now. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So, and the reason is that you are more likely to stay on track and focused if something is, particularly a calendar month. They work quite well because it ticks along. So you can really sort of hone things down and get it into a small package, and set it over a month, and then the next month you're setting another goal. The next month you're setting another goal.
So are we talking about people that are a little impulsive, like Kat and I?
Yeah.
We're setting shorter term goals, so our goals should be more bite-sized.
Correct.
Okay, so we don't get
Correct.
distracted.
I don't feel bad for not doing my vision board or buying that goals book for 365 days and I never wrote in it.
We're not that type of people.
No.
Okay.
It's a great book. I should gift it, really.
Yeah, give that to someone that's a strategist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those people, the strategists, the sort of longer term thinkers, and particularly perhaps that might fall into perhaps some of their home personal life, or even their business life, or their careers, or things like this. Again, what's important with that is working out things like what they like to do in terms of milestones. So again, within a bigger goal, so if you're looking at maybe one that's 6 or even 12 months, is what milestones within that goal do we need to make sure that we're tracking and making sure that we're checking in with, so that we're on track. But then aligning that again with a reward.
Oh.
Because
Treats.
you need to make sure, yes, treats. So, and again, that keeps people motivated. It's you can see the long-term vision and you can focus that in your mind. But, going through, and if that's every month or bi-monthly or something like that, you're ticking off a milestone, but then you're also aligning that with a treat, a reward, or some kind of, gift.
Now, people can be both, can't they? Impulsive and strategist.
Yep.
Lamb Chop is one of these. He's exactly impulsive and a strategist.
Totally, yeah.
So how do you know which strategy is going to apply to you, particularly if you're in business? Which one is it? You just split the difference? No.
Look, some of it depends on the business structure. So, for example, if you have employees, then knowing your employees and knowing how to make the most of their either impulsive behaviour or strategy behaviours, that can certainly play to your advantage, because you can then delegate that. And then when you actually wrap that round milestones and gifts and rewards, then that's where things start to really happen and start to come together.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's made me see how I can work with people again, because I do come off very impulsive, but I do have that strategic side. Like, I can already see, the TV thing. I've already observed way before that. So by the time I've walked into a shop, the decision's made until my partner gets involved. Then nothing happens.
But no, that's a very interesting way. So knowing who you're working with as well.
Yes.
And basing your strategies on how they work also.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so just being aware of that, because I realize that when I steam ahead, I go. Because I also suffer from shiny object syndrome, where as I'm heading towards that goal, I'm like, oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like a roadrunner that kind of stops for a second.
Yep.
And then I kind of assess that, and then I keep going.
Yeah.
And then the whatever this path I've had or planned to have kind of takes a sideline, and chances are I never come back to it because I'm inspired by something else. And that 1 month will keep me an impulsive person. I think I can just grit my teeth and just write it down.
Yeah.
And then review. We have a month review.
Yeah, a month is a nice bite-sized thing, and particularly if you know you're impulsive. If you're only setting 1 month goals, thinking, oh, actually that's achievable. I can probably do that.
Absolutely. And you know, the aim of the goal is to turn something that's intangible into something that's tangible.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you want. So you've got these ideas, you've got these visions, you've got where you see yourself, but you've got to make sure that you're turning that into reality. And, you know, making sure that it's right, that it's not, it's a goal, it's not a statement. So you've got some measure in there that it's achievable, you know. A lot of viewers might be, they might be familiar with the acronym SMART goals, you know, which is very, very, very apt, really. Actually,
sorry, what was SMART stands for? What's it again?
So it's simple, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely.
Okay, thank you.
So again, you know, you could set that. You could, without understanding some elements of your personality, you could actually set a SMART goal, but it not really be achievable or might not be realistic.
Like I want to lose weight within a month. And
exactly.
You know, you haven't really gotten your habits
correct
in check.
And it's not, and that's certainly not measurable, is it? You
No.
haven't given yourself an actual goal.
No.
So let's talk about, back to the way at the beginning of this chat, what you talked about statements versus goals.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what is the difference between a statement versus a goal? Is it back to SMART?
SMART really sets it up, and you know that gives you the framework. I usually make sure that people limit it to a sentence. Beyond that, you're going into statements and actually strategies rather than a goal. So if we used something like weight loss as an example, you could say by the end of January I would have lost 5 kilos.
So that's simple. That's definitely measurable.
Yeah,
that's achievable.
It's achievable.
Hopefully, as realistic
Yes.
and timely.
Yes.
So it's got all of those qualities, as opposed to just losing weight.
Yeah.
Or you say I want to lose 40 kilos, you know, and I find that's where the mountain seems bigger than.
That's right.
Than the journey. And
correct.
You know, the millionaire thing. I want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
And a lot of us who say that don't know what that looks like.
Yeah. I think as a segue into that as well, I also use a model called GROW, which is about the goal, reality, the options, and the will. And again, use that very much like a matrix where you're actually writing down what the goal is, what you want to achieve, what the reality is, where you are now. You know, so I'm this weight, so it means that I've got to go from this to this. That's the 5 kilos. You know, that's the reality. And, you know, you're also looking at the options. Well, you know, do you go to one of the high street weight loss programs? Do you run it alone? What are your options available? And then really plugging in your will. Why are you doing it? You know, and for me, this is the most important thing. And so looking back at that, why do you want to achieve what you want to achieve?
That's really important, because some people try and do it deep down. They want to prove someone wrong, and it's emotionally driven, and that's really sad when you put all that effort, but because there is no will, there's nothing driving you to seem crazy to do a few hours every weekend or whatever it is, to do the 4 days a week and ignore the comments that come from the so-called itty bitty committee, you know, like then that I see that. I definitely do.
Yeah.
I've also seen some multi-level marketing, very successful ones speaking, and they have said that, they want to be a millionaire, but they want to do it because they
Yes.
want to look after their mum, who's been a single parent and looked after them, and that was their goal. They want to be a millionaire, but they're doing it for their mum.
Yes.
To give them a holiday or whatever it is. So they were very focused on that. So it didn't care what kind of knockbacks they got or whatever, but they were focused on that as part of that bigger goal.
Last week I was talking to a guy and he said to me that his goal was to increase his sales by 50%.
Wow.
And I'm going, that's a statement. It's not a goal. Where's the timely? Is it reality? Increasing 50%, that's an interesting thought, So when he's sharing this with the people in his company, his staff, it's empty. It has very little meaning. And again, it was talking to him about aligning it with what his business purpose was, why he does what he does, and is that purely to, increase his sales, 100% year on year on year, or is about the belief in his business and the product that he provides. So again, aligning it with what your purpose is, what your values within your company are very, very important. And all them things need to be set up right for goals to be something that is going to be achievable and actually works for you either personally or within your company.
Awesome.
You'll actually stick to them. Might even hit a few of them. Hit the goals.
I'm feeling inspired. Normally I don't write goals because I did feel New Year's resolutions were just that, a statement. I want to be happy.
Yeah.
Okay. When?
I don't even know what that looks like. For all I am actually happy, and I don't know it.
But that's turning the intangible into tangible.
Right.
So what does it mean? And that would fit in with what you would do in the grow.
Yeah.
And what that would mean, and how that sits for you.
I do like the grow model because the tough question is the will.
I think we might have to have Martin back and talk about grow, because that sounds very interesting.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Martin Keiley of Step Into Life Coaching, thank you very much for joining Kat, Paz and I today on Taking Care of Business.
Pleasure.
Hopefully we're not too scared and we're a little inspired.
We're inspired.
Right.
Not impulsive. Impulsive inspired, I would say.
Well, now we know how to work with that.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.